The gravel crunched under Spencer's boots like bones snapping in the dead of night, but it was the echo of his own heartbeat that drowned out the world. Bobby's hand slipped from his grasp just as the quarry's edge loomed ahead, a jagged scar in the earth that had claimed lives before, and now threatened to swallow their love whole. "Run," Bobby whispered, his voice cracking like the first shot of a rifle, but Spencer froze, staring into eyes that held a betrayal sharper than any blade. In the shadow of Eldridge's endless cornfields, where the American heartland stretched like a promise half-kept, Spencer Hayes had always believed that home was the one place you could fix what the world broke. At 28, with calloused hands from rebuilding engines in his uncle's old garage and a heart patched together from too many goodbyes, he'd returned to the speck of Iowa after a decade chasing ghosts in Chicago's concrete canyons. The town of Quarry Hollow hadn't changed much. Same sagging porches on Main Street, same Friday night bonfires where kids dreamed of escaping, same whispers about folks who didn't fit the mold. But Spencer had. Or so he thought, until the wagon. It started innocently enough. That damn wagon. Spencer had found it rusting in a barn on the edge of town, a relic from the 50s, all curved fenders and wooden slats, the kind of thing that evoked covered wagons crossing the plains but with a modern twist. He'd painted it electric blue, stenciled wildflowers along the sides in tribute to the prairies his mom used to sing about before the cancer took her. It wasn't just a vehicle. It was his rolling sanctuary, hitched to his pickup for hauling scrap or just cruising the back roads with the windows down, radio blasting Springsteen. In a town where progress moved slower than a combine in mud, the wagon was Spencer's quiet rebellion, a splash of color against the gray. That's when Karen Whitaker entered the picture. HOA president for the Hollow's Edge subdivision, though calling it a subdivision was generous. It was a cluster of McMansions plopped on former farmland by developers who'd fled after the '08 crash. Karen ruled with the fervor of a televangelist spotting sin. 50-something, with a bob haircut sharp as her tongue and pearls that clacked like judgment, she patrolled the streets in her spotless Escalade, clipboard in hand, enforcing bylaws no one had voted on. Uniformity is unity, she'd declare at town halls, her voice slicing through the murmurs like a combined blade. And Spencer, his wagon, parked in the driveway of the fixer-upper he'd bought on the cheap, was her personal affront to God, country, and apple pie. It was a Tuesday in late May, the air thick with the scent of blooming lilacs and impending storm, when Karen descended. Spencer was under the hood of his pickup, grease-streaked and humming along to an old Dylan tune on his portable speaker, when her shadow fell over him like an eclipse. "Mr. Hayes," she said, her tone dripping honey over vinegar, "we need to talk about that abomination in your driveway." Spencer straightened, wiping his forehead with a rag, catching a glimpse of Bobby across the street, his neighbor, his secret, leaning against the fence with a half-smile that said trouble's here. Bobby Harlan, 35 and built like the quarry he managed, with sun-bleached blonde hair, forearms roped from years of hauling stone, and blue eyes that could calm a summer squall. They'd met 6 months back at the Hollow's annual harvest fair, bonding over bad beer and worse karaoke, and somewhere between stolen glances and midnight drives, it had become something real, something hidden, because Quarry Hollow wasn't ready for two men holding hands under the harvest moon. "Abomination, Ms. Whitaker," Spencer replied, keeping his voice even, Midwestern polite masking the spark in his gut. "That's just my wagon. Hauls my tools, keeps the place lively." Lively! Karen's laugh was a bark, echoing off the empty street. She thrust her clipboard forward like a shield, bylaws fluttering. Section 4.2. No vehicles exceeding pre-1980 dimensions on residential property. That eyesore violates every rule we've got. It's an eyesore, Mr. Hayes, a blight on our community's standards. Spencer glanced at the wagon, its blue paint gleaming defiantly in the sun. Standards. In a town where the quarry had gutted the economy twice over, leaving families like his scraping by on memories, standards felt like chains. It's history, ma'am. Part of what makes this place us. Us. Her eyes narrowed, scanning him like he was a weed in her perfect lawn. Some of us appreciate progress. Spencer. Clean lines, modern values. That thing screams. Well, let's just say it doesn't fit. The pause hung heavy, laced with the unspoken, the rainbow sticker on the wagon's tailgate. Faint but there. A nod to pride that Spencer hadn't bothered hiding. Bobby coughed from the fence. A warning wrapped in amusement, but Spencer felt the heat rise. "I'll think on it," he said finally, turning back to the engine. But Karen didn't budge. "You'll remove it by Friday, or we'll fine you. $500 a day." She tapped her pen against the clipboard, the click-clack like a countdown. "And tell your friend over there to mind his own. This town's got enough loose ends." As she strode back to her SUV, engine purring to life like a satisfied cat, Spencer slammed the hood harder than he meant to. Bobby crossed the street in 3 strides, his work boots kicking up dust. "Karen's on a tear again. Ignore her. She's got a stick up her ass the size of a silo." Spencer forced a grin, but it wobbled. "Easy for you to say. Your place is HOA exempt, Mr. Quarry King." Bobby's family had owned the Harlan Stoneworks for generations, the massive pit on the town's outskirts their legacy and livelihood. It employed half the hollow, including Spencer's cousin, and Bobby ran it with a quiet authority that made Spencer's chest ache in the best way. "Come on," Bobby murmured, his hand brushing Spencer's. Just a graze, but enough to send sparks. "Let's get out of here." Wagon and all. They drove that evening, the wagon hitched behind, winding through cornstalk sentinels toward the quarry's rim. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in strokes of fire and gold, the kind of Midwest sunset that made you believe in second chances. They parked at the overlook, beers cracked from a cooler, the world shrinking to the two of them. Bobby leaned back against the wagon's side, his shoulder pressing warm against Spencer's. "You know she's full of shit, right? That wagon's the best thing on your street." Spencer took a swig, the cold bite grounding him. "It's more than the wagon. It's like she sees me, us, and decides we're the problem." He turned, meeting Bobby's gaze, the vulnerability raw. In Chicago, he'd marched in parades, kissed boyfriends under neon lights, but here, love felt like smuggling contraband. Bobby had lost his wife to leukemia 3 years back, left with a teenage daughter, Ellie, who viewed Spencer with wary curiosity. Their nights were stolen, backroad picnics, late shifts at the quarry where Bobby would pull him into the office for hurried embraces. It was enough, Spencer told himself. Almost. Bobby's fingers found his, lacing tight. "Then let's make it ours. Screw the HOA. We'll fight it, together." His voice was gravel low, promising storms and shelter. Spencer leaned in, their lips meeting soft and sure, the quarry yawning below like a secret they shared. But secrets have a way of cracking open. By Thursday, the fines started. Yellow slips under Spencer's wiper, neighbors averting eyes at the gas station. Karen escalated, rallying the HOA board at an emergency meeting in the community center. Her presentation a slideshow of offenses. The wagon's garish color, the inappropriate stickers, whispers about Spencer's lifestyle, leaking like oil from a busted line. Word spread, old high school buddies texting heads up, Ellie's friends giggling at school. Bobby tried to shield him, showing up with coffee and quiet rants about small-town tyrants, but the strain showed in the lines around his eyes. Friday dawned muggy, thunder rumbling distant like a grudge. Spencer woke to pounding on his door. Karen, flanked by 2 board members, clipboards at the ready. "Time's up, Mr. Hayes." Tow truck's on its way. He stepped out in boxers and a tank. Hair wild, defiance burning. "Over my dead body." Her smile was serpentine. "Don't tempt fate. Some things don't belong here, like weeds in a garden." The tow truck arrived. Burly driver named Hank averting his gaze as he hooked the chains. Spencer lunged, grabbing the hitch, shouting, "This is my home. You can't just." Bobby roared up in his F-150, brakes screeching, leaping out like a lion. "Back off, Karen. That's Spencer's property, legally parked." "Legally?" She wheeled on him, pearls rattling. "Bobby Harlan, your family's quarry is the only reason this town tolerates your leniency. But even you can't flout the rules." The air crackled, neighbors peeking from curtains. Spencer felt the world's eyes, the weight of freak and troublemaker pressing down. Bobby stepped between them, chest to chest with Hank. "Unhook it." "Now." Hank hesitated, glancing at Karen. She nodded curtly. "Fine. For today. But this isn't over." As the truck rumbled away, she fixed Spencer with a stare that chilled deeper than winter. "Watch your step, boys. Quarry Hollow has ways of handling loose gravel." That night, rain lashed the windows as Spencer and Bobby holed up in the Harlan kitchen. Ellie at a sleepover, the house echoing with unspoken fears. Bobby paced, fists clenched. She's gunning for the quarry next. Permits, inspections, says the blasting scares her precious birds. Spencer pulled him close, rain drumming a frantic rhythm. Then we stand ground. Together, their kiss was fierce, a dam against the flood, bodies pressing in the dim light, hearts sinking like pistons. For a moment, the world outside dissolved, no HOAs, no stairs, just the raw ache of wanting to build something lasting in a place that tore things down. But dawn brought the betrayal. Saturday morning, Spencer's phone buzzed with a text from his cousin at the quarry. "Board meeting today. Karen's there. Says Bobby's selling out to developers." Spencer's stomach dropped. Developers? The kind who'd paved over prairies for strip malls. The same ones eyeing Harlan Stoneworks for a gravel pit expansion that would gut the Hollow's soul. He drove to the quarry, mud splashing the wagon sides, heart hammering. The boardroom was a converted trailer, fluorescent hum underscoring the tension. Karen sat at the head, smug as sin, while Bobby stood at a whiteboard, marker in hand, outlining options. Options that included selling a chunk of the land to Horizon Developments, her husband's firm. "Bobby!" Spencer's voice cracked the room's hush. All eyes turned, workers in flannel, Karen's allies in pressed khakis. Bobby's face paled, marker slipping. "Spence. It's not. Strategic retreat," Karen interjected smoothly. To save jobs. Your boyfriend's little tantrum with the wagon? It's drawing scrutiny. We need capital, not drama. The word boyfriend landed like a slap, rippling through the room. Murmurs rose, Harlan's queer, and Spencer's world tilted. Betrayal wasn't the sale. It was Bobby's silence, the way he'd folded to protect his legacy, leaving Spencer as collateral. You knew, Spencer whispered, stepping closer, rain dripping from his jacket. All those nights talking future. You were planning this? Bobby's eyes glistened, voice breaking. It's for Ellie. The quarry's bleeding money. One parcel, that's all. I was gonna tell you. Tell me, laughter bitter as bile. After I fight for us, you sell us out to her. He jabbed a finger at Karen, who watched with predatory calm. The room erupted shouts, chairs scraping. Spencer stormed out, the quarry's roar mocking him as he revved the pickup, wagon bouncing behind. He drove blind, tears mixing with rain, until the road ended at the overlook, their spot, now poisoned. Hours later, as lightning forked the sky, Bobby found him there, soaked and shivering against the wagon. Spence, please. Listen. Go. Spencer's voice was thunder. You chose them. Your rules. Your rules. Bobby dropped to his knees in the mud, grabbing Spencer's hands. I chose survival. But losing you? That's death. Rain streamed down his face, words tumbling. Karen cornered me, threatened to expose us, tank the quarry with lawsuits over moral clauses in old contracts. I thought, if I played along, buy time, lies. But Spencer's resolve cracked. Bobby's touch a lifeline in the storm. They clung, sobs racking them, the quarry below a churning abyss mirroring their turmoil. Monday brought the showdown. Karen called a town hall, packed with fearful faces, farmers eyeing lost jobs, wives whispering about changes. She took the mic, projection flawless, slides of the wagon as symbol of decay, Bobby's compromise as salvation. Horizon will modernize us. Jobs, growth. No more eyesores, no more distractions. Spencer slipped in late. Wagon parked defiantly outside. Bobby at his side, united now, hands brushing in the shadows. When Karen opened for questions, Spencer stood, voice steady as steel. Ma'am, you scream about rules, but yours are chains. This wagon is my mom's memory, my fight to belong. And Bobby's quarry is our blood, not your playground. Murmurs swelled. A farmer rose. Harlan's kept us afloat. Developers, they'll strip us bare. Karen faltered, pearls twisting. This is progress. Progress. Bobby surged forward, voice booming. Progress is facing who we are, not hiding behind bylaws. He turned to the crowd, eyes fierce. Spencer's right. The wagon stays. The quarry stays ours. No sale. The room ignited cheers, arguments, a raw pulse of humanity. Karen's face twisted, accusation flying. You're both. It's unnatural. This town's Christian values. Christian, an old widow, Mrs. Ellis, piped up from the back. Jesus flipped tables over hypocrites like you. Laughter broke the tension, a dam bursting. As fists clenched and voices rose, Karen lunged for the mic, but Spencer blocked her, calm as the eye. Enough. Vote fair, or we'll expose every backroom deal you've made. She recoiled, the board fracturing under the glare. By night's end, the HOA bylaws were tabled, Horizon's offer rejected. The wagon rolled home unpainted, unchained. In the aftermath, Quarry Hollow breathed easier. Spencer and Bobby emerged scarred but whole, their love no longer a shadow. Ellie even baked cookies for Uncle Spence, wary smiles turning warm. They married quietly at the Overlook, Quarry rumbling approval, wildflowers from the wagon sides woven into boutonnieres. Karen faded to the margins, her Escalade gathering dust, a reminder that rules bend when hearts stand firm. In the Heartland's quiet rhythm, Spencer learned home wasn't fixed, it was fought for, loved into being, one defiant mile at a time. Weeks blurred into summer's haze after the town hall, the air heavy with cut grass and the faint tang of limestone dust that never quite left Quarry Hollow's veins. Spencer woke most mornings to the low growl of Bobby's truck pulling away before dawn, off to the quarry where the world was reduced to the measured blast of dynamite and the endless grind of machinery. Their nights, though, those were sacred, stolen in the creak of Spencer's bed, bodies entwined under threadbare sheets, whispers trading dreams like contraband. One day, Bobby would murmur against his neck, breath warm as fresh-baked cornbread, "We'll take Ellie to the coast. Show her waves bigger than silos." Spencer would laugh soft, tracing the scar on Bobby's collarbone from a long-ago cave-in, a reminder of risks taken and survived. "Deal. But only if you let me drive the wagon." It was their ritual, this planning, a bridge over the chasm Karen's meddling had carved. The fines stopped, the stares softened to nods at the diner, but trust, that mended slower than a busted axle. Ellie was the wild card, 13 and all sharp edges, her mother's eyes in a face that mirrored Bobby's too much. She'd lost Sarah young, the leukemia a thief in the night, leaving her with questions that festered like untreated wounds. Spencer treaded light, fixing her bike in the driveway, slipping her extra fries at cookouts, but her gaze lingered, probing. "Dad says you're special," she ventured one afternoon, kicking gravel as they walked the quarry's fenced perimeter, the pit's depths a vertigo of rust-red walls. "Special?" Spencer crouched to her level, the sun glinting off his green eyes. "Means I'm lucky. Got your dad. Got you. That's more than special, that's family." She chewed her lip, ponytail swinging. "Mom wouldn't like it. The church ladies say it's wrong." The words stung like salt in a cut, but Spencer kept steady, Midwestern steel. "Your mom's heart was bigger than any rule. She'd want us happy." Ellie nodded, uncertain, but slipped her hand in his for the first block home, a small victory, fragile as a firefly's glow. Meanwhile, Karen simmered. She didn't yell anymore. That was too messy for her polished image. Instead, she whispered, "Poison in the co-op. Barbs at the library book club. Harlan's gone soft," she'd say over iced tea, letting that influence the quarry. "Next it'll be rainbow flags on the rigs." Her husband, Tom, nodded along, his development firm licking wounds from the rejected deal, but his eyes held calculation, like a hawk spotting weakness. Bobby felt it, the pressure coiling. Quarry margins were tight, fuel costs spiking, a new EPA reg on dust control eating profits. At dinner one night, Ellie poking at her meatloaf, he laid it out plain. "Got an offer from a smaller outfit. Not Horizon, local, sustainable. Might lease a section for ecotourism. Keep the stone flowing without the strip. Spencer's fork paused. Lease? Not sell. Lease. Bobby's smile was weary. Your idea. Remember? From that night after the haul. Turn the pit into something people fight for. Pride swelled, chasing shadows. They celebrated low-key. Wagon loaded with coolers for a backroad picnic. Ellie roped in with promises of esmores. The fields rolled golden under a sky bruised purple, fireflies winking like conspirators. As Ellie chased lightning bugs with a jar, Spencer pulled Bobby close, their backs against the wagon's warm wood. We're doing it, he breathed. Building, not breaking. Bobby's kiss was slow, reverent, hands cupping Spencer's face like he was the quarry's rarest gem. You did this. Woke me up, but awakenings stirred dust. 2 days later, Spencer found the note slipped under his door. Anonymous, typed, Ask Harlan about the '94 accident. Truths don't stay buried. His gut twisted, pulse racing like a revved engine. The '94 cave-in, 3 men dead, Bobby barely 18 and Green on the crew, his dad calling the shots. Official report blamed unstable shale, but rumors lingered, cut corners, ignored warnings to hit quotas. He didn't confront Bobby that night. Instead, lay awake, ceiling fan whirring accusations. Trust, so newly rebuilt, teetered. By morning, resolve hardened. He drove to the quarry archives, a dusty trailer crammed with ledgers and faded blueprints. Hours sifting yellowed papers, coffee going cold, until he found it. A memo, and signed, flagging risks on that shift. And Bobby's initials, BH, scrawled at the bottom, approving the blast. Heart in throat, he pocketed a photocopy, the paper crackling like dry leaves. Betrayal's echo, sharper now. Was this Karen's doing? Or worse, had Bobby hidden this fracture from the start? Confrontation came at dusk. Quarry winds whipping dust devils across the lot. Bobby emerged from the office, hard hat tucked under arm, surprise flickering to guilt at Spencer's expression. What's wrong? Spencer thrust the copy forward, voice raw. This. You signed off on a death trap. 3 lives, Bobby. And you never said. Bobby's face drained, staggering back against a loader. God, Spence. It was my first year. Dad's orders. Keep production up or we're done. I was a kid. Scared shitless. Scared. Spencer advanced. Rain from last night's storm pooling at their feet. You let me fight Karen. Paint you the hero. While this haunts you, I buried it. For Ellie. For the crew. Therapy. Memorials, we honored them. Bobby's voice broke, hands reaching. But yeah, I fucked up. Biggest regret of my life. Spencer recoiled, the photocopy fluttering to the mud. Regrets don't bring them back. And hiding it from me? That's the cave-in now. He walked away, wagon's engine a roar in his ears, leaving Bobby in the gathering dark. Days stretched taut. Silent dinners with Ellie sensing the rift. Quarry shifts where Bobby's calls went unanswered. Spencer threw himself into repairs, hands black with grease, but sleep evaded, dreams of falling rock mingling with Karen's laugh. She struck then, opportunistic as a crow. A petition circulated, Protect Quarry Hollow, Recall Harlan Management. Signatures from spooked families, fueled by her tea-time tales of reckless leadership. The town buzzed, diner booths alive with debate. Spencer saw it tearing Bobby apart, haggard at the mirror, snapping at suppliers. One night, unable to bear the silence, Spencer showed up at the Harlan door, rain-slicked and desperate. Ellie answered, eyes wide. He's in the garage, fixing Mom's old radio. The garage smelled of oil and solder. Bobby hunched over the workbench, sparks flying from a wire. He looked up, hope warring with defeat. You came, couldn't not. Spencer stepped in, door clicking shut. Ellie told me about the memorials. You go every year, alone. Bobby nodded, setting down the iron. Yeah. Lights candles, reads their names. Wish I could undo it. Spencer crossed the space, pulling him up, foreheads touching. You can't. But you can share it. With me. We're in the caves together now. Tears tracked Bobby's cheeks, mingling with Spencer's. I'm sorry. For all of it. Forgiven. The kiss was salt and fire, amending. They held on as thunder rolled, the storm outside paling to the one they'd weathered. But Karen's petition gained traction, forcing a vote. The showdown loomed, not at the quarry's edge, but in the heart of town, where secrets and loves would clash under the unforgiving light. The petition drive turned Quarry Hollow into a pressure cooker, steam hissing from every cracked sidewalk conversation. Spencer tacked flyers to the wagon sides. Save our stone. Vote no on recall. Cruising Main Street like a one-man parade. Radio tuned to local AM talk where callers debated with the fervor of a presidential race. Harlan's family. One grizzled voice crackled, through thick and shale, but others echoed Karen's script. Time for fresh eyes. No more skeletons. Bobby threw himself into damage control, hosting open shifts at the quarry, folks in hard hats touring the pits, seeing the precision of the blasts, the crew's camaraderie. Ellie even led a kid's geology class, her ponytail bobbing as she passed out fossil samples, a spark of her dad's grit shining through. Spencer watched from the sidelines, pride swelling, but doubt gnawed had he pushed too hard, forcing Bobby's hand into this exposure. Karen, ever the strategist, pivoted to victimhood. Her op-eds in the Hollow Herald painted her as the defender of traditional values, sly jabs at Spencer's disruptive vehicle, and the unconventional partnership eroding town fabric. Whispers followed Spencer at the feed store. Fairies got Harlan wrapped. He laughed it off over beers with old pals, but the barbs stuck, festering. Midweek, confrontation brewed at the co-op, shelves stocked with canned goods and grudge. Spencer loaded feed sacks into the wagon, muscles straining, when Karen cornered him by the checkout. Still playing cowboy with that relic? Her smile was saccharine, basket brimming with organics. Relic. He hefted the last sack, thudding it down. It's alive, unlike some attitudes around here. She leaned in, voice a conspirator's hush. Careful, Spencer. Your influence is costing jobs. Bobby's too soft now. Blasts delayed, production down. That 94 mess? I could make it front page. Ice slithered his spine. Blackmail, plain as day. You threatening me? Advising. She straightened, pearls gleaming. Withdraw support. Let the recall happen. Tom gets his lease small, quiet. Everyone wins. Except us. Spencer's jaw set. Tell your husband the Hollow doesn't sell cheap. She laughed, low and knowing. Us? Honey, there's no us in this town. Not for long. The drive home blurred, anger a white-knuckle grip on the wheel. He burst into the Harlan kitchen, where Bobby stirred chili. Ellie at homework. She's coming for the accident. Says she'll bury you if we don't fold. Bobby's spoon clattered, face ashen. Shit. Knew it was too quiet. Ellie looked up, pencil pausing. Bury Dad? Like, tell everyone. Worse. Kiddo. Spencer ruffled her hair, forcing calm. But we fight smart. That night, after Ellie slept, they pored over records in the den, lamplight casting long shadows. Bobby confessed more, the pressure from his father back then, the guilt that had driven him to overwork, nearly losing Ellie in the grief. Sarah saw it all. Pulled me through. Now you. Spencer squeezed his hand. I'm not going anywhere. But we need proof. She's bluffing. Or digging. Dawn found them at the county archives in Eldridge. 30 miles of flatland away. Coffee sludge in thermoses. Dusty files yielded gold. Tom's firm had pushed for the 94 permits. Lax oversight in exchange for kickbacks. Karen's name dotted memos. Her fingerprints on the rot. She's the skeleton, Bobby breathed. Photocopies stacking. Not me. Armed. They returned. But the vote loomed Friday. Town gym transformed into a coliseum of folding chairs and American flags. Spencer parked the wagon out front. A blue beacon. Flyers fluttering like prayers. Inside, the air hummed. Neighbors in Carhartts and polos. Karen at a podium slick as oil. She opened strong. Slides ticking. Quarry stats dipping. Leadership lapses veiled swipes. We need change. Stability. For our children. Applause rippled. Her base solid. Bobby took the stage next. Voice steady as a drill bit. I've bled for this pit. Lost friends. Broke my back. But Spencer's right. It's not about stone. It's about us. Flaws and all. He laid out the 94 truth, not blame, but lessons learned. Safety upgrades since. Murmurs shifted. Heads nodding. Then Spencer. Unscripted. Heart pounding. This town's my home. Fought to keep it wagon. Love. Karen wants to pave it over for profit. But we're quarry folk. We dig deep. Build high. Karen surged up during Q&A. Mic in fist. Lies. That wagon's a symptom. Chaos from outsiders. Her eyes locked on Spencer. Admit it. You're the disruption. The room tensed. Powder keg. Ellie, in the front row, stood sudden. Stop. Dad's good. Spencer's good. You're just mad, 'cause you can't control everything. Her voice wobbled but held. 12 years old and fierce. Silence. Then cheers erupted, drowning Karen's sputter. The vote followed ballots in, counted under fluorescent glare. When the tally flashed, 62% no recall, the gym shook with hoots and hugs. Outside, under stars pricking the velvet sky, Bobby scooped Ellie up, Spencer at their side. Proud of you. Bug, Bobby said, kissing her forehead. She grinned, gap-toothed. Team, right? Team. Spencer's arm around them. Oh. Karen slunk away, petition shredded, but her shadow lingered, a reminder that victories were vigils. Autumn crept in on crisp winds, leaves turning the hollow's edges to flame, the quarry's dust taking on a golden haze that softened its scars. The recall's defeat bought breathing room, production steadied, the eco-lease talks with the local outfit gaining steam. promising trails and tours that could draw leaf peepers from Des Moines. Spencer and Bobby settled into a rhythm. Mornings tangled in sheets. Evenings with Ellie over board games and bad puns. The wagon now a fixture at school events. Hauling hay for hayrides. But peace in Quarry Hollow was like good weather, fleeting. Tom's development firm, rebuffed but not broken, circled back with a new angle. Eminent domain whispers. State-backed for infrastructure. Karen fueled it. Her Herald columns now concerned citizen. Pleas for economic revival. Code for swallowing the quarry whole. Spencer caught wind at the diner. Over eggs and hash that stuck like worry. Cousin Jake, loader operator, slid into the booth. Heard from a buddy in county. Surveyors coming Monday. Lines redrawn, your land. Fence. In the mix. My land. Fork down. Appetite gone. The fixer-upper sat on the subdivision's fringe, but close enough to the pit's access road. They're carving us up. Jake nodded grim. Karen's pushing. Says it's for a bypass, trucks off residential streets. But it's bullshit. Leads straight to their gravel plant. Rage simmered. Hot as quarry blasts. Spencer texted Bobby. Meeting tonight. Bring beer. The Harlan porch became war council. Ellie Abed. Fireflies dancing in jars like captive stars. We exposed the eminent play, Bobby said, pacing boards worn smooth. Petitions. Calls to reps. Hit M where it hurts. Public opinion. And the wagon? Spencer half-joked, but his eyes were steel. Parade it to the Capitol? Bobby grinned, pulling him close. Hell yeah. Our chariot. Strategy coalesced. Ally building. They rallied the crew, miners with families tied to the land, farmers fearing sprawl. Mrs. Ellis hosted a potluck, her deviled eggs a peace offering, where stories flowed like bourbon, lost homesteads to highways, dreams deferred. Even Ellie contributed. Her school project on quarry heritage projected on a sheet, fossils glowing earnest. Karen countered sly. At community forum at the church neutral ground, she claimed. Spencer and Bobby attended. Wagon parked pious outside, but the vibe soured quick. Pastor Hale, her uncle, opened with prayer for guidance in turbulent times, eyes lingering on them. Karen spoke of necessary sacrifices, slides showing glossy renders of a vibrant corridor, malls, motels, the quarry a footnote. Questions turned pointed. What about the gays running the show? A back row heckler, egged by her nod. Murmurs rose, old prejudices cracking open. Bobby stood, calm as cut stone. Love's not the issue. Greed is. This corridor lines pockets, not ours. Spencer followed, voice carrying. My wagon violates rules? Try violating lives. We've built here families, futures. Don't let them bulldoze that. Applause clashed with boos, the forum fracturing. Outside, in the lot, Karen waited, Tom at her elbow, suit crisp as a threat. Touching speech, boys. But progress waits for no man. Her gaze raked Spencer. Or his toys. Save it, Spencer snapped. We know about the surveys. Tom shifted, discomfort flickering. It's the state, son. Bigger than us. Then fight bigger. Bobby's arm around Spencer's waist. Public, defiant. Gasps rippled, but so did nods. The surveyors arrived Monday, orange vests bright as warnings, stakes hammering like nails in a coffin. Spencer watched from his porch. coffee bitter, as they marked his driveway's edge. Bobby joined, coffee in hand, but fury etched deep. Call the sheriff. Harassment. The deputy, a quarry vet, arrived slow but sure, waving them off. Permits look clean, but I'll poke. It bought time, but the stakes stayed, mocking. That night, vulnerability cracked them open. In bed, rain pattering, Bobby traced Spencer's ribs. Scared I'll lose it all. You. The pit. Ellie. Spencer turned, cupping his jaw. Won't. We're the bedrock. Their lovemaking was tender, a reaffirmation, slow explorations, breaths sinking, the world held at bay by skin and sigh. But cracks widened. Ellie came home tear-streaked Thursday, backpack slung low. Kids at school. Said your why dad's in trouble. Called you names. Spencer's blood boiled, but he knelt. Names are noise. Truth's louder. She hugged fierce. I told him your family. Like mom, Bobby overheard, joining the huddle. Damn right. Family meeting turned strategy. Ellie to the principal, Spencer to the press, a stringer from the Des Moines Register, hungry for heartland drama. The article dropped Friday. Quarry lovers fight land grab. Photo of the wagon staked like a battlefield relic. Spencer and Bobby quoted raw. Calls flooded. Support from Des Moines. Threats from unknowns. Karen retaliated with a countersuit. Defamation. Claiming the piece libeled her civic efforts. Court date set for November. Leaves falling like omens. As winter nipped, the fight hardened. Rallies at the quarry rim. Bonfires where songs rose defiant. Springsteen anthems blending with folk laments. Spencer drove the wagon loaded with signs. Ellie waving from the seat. Bobby's hand on his thigh. One rally night, under a hunter's moon, Karen crashed the gate. Alone, face gaunt in firelight. This ends, she hissed to Spencer, apart from the crowd. Drop the suit, or I drag your secrets through hell. That 94? I'll tie it to now, negligence, endangerment, bluff or blade. Spencer's pulse thrummed. You've got nothing but hate. Hate, her laugh cracked. Fear. This town raised me proper, man and wife. Church on Sunday. You're unraveling it. Then we've new. He stepped closer. Voice low. Tom's complicit. Walk away, Karen. Save what's left. She recoiled, vanishing into shadows. But dawn brought escalation. Vest slashed. Equipment tampered. Sabotage pinned on agitators. Sheriff hauled in suspects, wayward teens. Karen's nephew among. The town splintered. Trust eroding like shale. Spencer and Bobby fortified. Nights planning by lamplight. Ellie their anchor. We'll win, she declared over cocoa. Fierce as any miner. Love, in its quiet forge, tempered them, kisses in dawn light, hands clasped over maps, a vow unspoken, together, unbreakable. Yet as snow dusted the stakes, the showdown loomed, eminent domain hearing a coliseum where hearts would bear and empires crumble. Winter clamped Quarry Hollow in iron, snow blanketing the quarry like a shroud, blast silence till spring thaw. The hearing loomed in Eldridge Courthouse, a squat brick fortress amid corn stubble, where lawyers in wool and locals in parkas converged like armies at dawn. Spencer woke queasy, stomach knotted tighter than bootlaces, the wagon buried under drifts but its spirit hauling him forward. Bobby brewed coffee strong as tar, Ellie packing lunches with notes. Kick-ass. Team. The drive was hushed. Wipers slapping slush. Bobby's hand a steady anchor on Spencer's knee. Whatever happens, we face it square. Square, Spencer echoed, but doubt whispered, what if they take it all? Courthouse buzzed. Reporters scribbling. Karen in pearls and power suit. Tom at her side stone-faced. The hollow crew filled benches. Flannel a defiant plaid against suits. Judge Harlan, no relation, iron gray and no nonsense, gavelled order. State's attorney opened. Eminent domain essential for public good. Slides of traffic models. Economic projections rosy as dawn. Bypass eases congestion. Boosts commerce. Minimal displacement. Karen testified next. Voice quaver for effect. As a lifelong resident, I fear for our safety. Quarry trucks endanger children. My forum highlighted this. Lies slick, omitting her forum's chaos. Cross-examination turned. Bobby's lawyer, a Des Moines firebrand named Ruiz, pressed. Ms. Whitaker, your husband's firm stands to gain from this corridor. Objection sustained. But seeds planted. Bobby took the stand. Oath sworn. Voice gravel steady. This land's my blood. Dad broke his neck here. I lost friends. It's not just rock. It's livelihood. Legacy. He detailed upgrades, safety nets. Community funds, eyes locking on judge. Eminent? Theft. Questions probed the 94 scar. Bobby owned it raw. Mistake made me better. Can't undo. But I've atoned. Gallery shifted. Miners nodding. Spencer's turn came like a gut punch. I'm new blood here, but rooted deep. Bought that house to rebuild mine, my family's. The wagon? Symbol of moving forward. Not backward. He faced Karen direct. Rules bind us, but heart freeze. Don't chain this town. Karen's rebuttal seethed. Sentimentality over sense. His vehicle, his lifestyle, disruptive forces. Ruiz pounced. Lifestyle? Irrelevant. But conflicts? Your nephew's sabotage charges pending. Karen flushed. Tom squirming. The state faltered. Projections crumbling under scrutiny. Projections inflated. Gains skewed to developers. Closing arguments thundered. States progress inevitable. Hollows home irreplaceable. Judge recessed. Days stretching taut as guy wires. Back home. Limbo gnawed. Spencer tinkered in the garage. Radio crooning Merle Haggard. Bobby hauling wood for fires. Ellie mediated with hot chocolate diplomacy. Her project now a town exhibit at the library, fossils and family trees. A kid's plea for roots. One blizzard night. Power flickering. They huddled by hearth. Ellie asleep on couch. Bobby pulled Spencer close. Flames dancing in eyes. If we lose, we won't. Kiss deep. Urgent. Body's a bulwark. Love's heat chasing cold. You're my constant. Always. Whispers wove promises. Touches mapping scars. Reaffirming in the storm's howl. Ruling dropped mid-February. Snow muffled. Eminent denied. Public need unsubstantiated. Private gain evident. Cheers echoed Eldridge to hollow. Wagon unearthed for a victory lap. Horns blaring Dylan. The times they are a-changin'. Karen's empire cracked. Divorce papers filed. Tom fleeing to Chicago. Her HOA throne toppled in a recall of her own. She sold the Escalade. Vanished to a sister's in Omaha. Leaving whispers of regret. Spring bloomed defiant. Quarry roaring back. Eco-trails sprouting under Ellie's eager eye. Spencer and Bobby, battle-worn, stood stronger, love no longer hidden, hands linked at fairs, wagon festooned with ribbons. But scars lingered, teaching mercy. Spencer visited the 94 memorial, candles lit with Bobby, names read solemn. Forgiveness, for self and foe, a quiet revolution. Ellie, blooming too, asked over ice cream, "Think Karen's okay?" "Everyone's fighting something," Spencer said. "Hope she finds her peace, humanity's thread, woven tight." Summer returned full-throated, fireflies reclaiming nights, the quarries hum a lullaby under stars. The eco-lease signed, trails winding the pit's rim, hikers snapping pics, school groups unearthing fossils, revenue steadying Harlan ledgers. Spencer expanded the garage into a custom shop, restoring relics like the wagon, clients trickling from Eldridge with classics craving color. Bobby mentored young crews, safety drills a religion now, Ellie's friends trailing him like ducklings. Their life wove domestic, profound. Mornings with coffee on the porch, wagon gleaming blue sentinel, afternoons split, Spencer wrenching, Bobby blasting, evenings whole, grilling burgers, Ellie strumming guitar tunes half-learned. Pride came quiet, a church picnic where Pastor Hale, humbled, offered a nod, a school dance where Ellie danced with girls and boys, no questions. Anniversary fell on a harvest moon, 6 months since the hearing. Bobby planned covert, wagon hitched to a trailer, loaded with blankets and a cooler, Ellie in on the secret with winks. They drove to the overlook, the spot of storms past now sacred, fire pit crackling, stars a canopy. Ellie presented a sign, painted proud, Team Harlan Hayes forever. "For the new house," she said, hugging fierce. They'd pooled for a plot, edge of town, away from HOAs, space for a shop and garden. Bobby knelt then, ring simple, silver band etched with a quarry vein, wildflower twist. "Spencer Hayes, you've hauled my heart from the pit. Marry me? Make it official." Tears pricked, joy sharp. "Yes. God, yes." Kiss sealed, Ellie whooping, Esmores melting sticky. Wedding was hollow style, barn on quarry land, hay bales seats, wagon altar draped blooms. Crew in vests turn ties, Mrs. Ellis baking pies, Dylan on speakers fading to vows. "In fractures and fire," Bobby said, voice thick. "You mended me, and you grounded me," Spencer replied. Rings exchanged under arches of stone dust and petals. Ellie maid of honor, tossing confetti fossils. Honeymoon local backroads loop, wagon their carriage. Motels with neon buzz and diners with pie. They talked futures, kids maybe, adoption whispers, travels, coasts with Ellie, legacy, quarry green and enduring. Years folded, Ellie to high school, college bound with geology dreams, shop thriving, Spencer mentoring apprentices, Bobby graying handsome, blasts fewer but blasts proud. Karen surfaced once, a postcard from Omaha, scrawl shaky, found a group. Learning. Sorry. Spencer pinned it to the fridge. A talisman. Old age crept gentle. Wagon retired to barn museum. Trails named Hayes Harlan Loop. On porches now, hands veined and linked, they'd watch sunsets, quarry a distant rumble. "Best fight," Bobby murmured one dusk. head on Spencer's shoulder. Best win, kiss soft, enduring as heartland soil. In Quarry Hollow's quiet pulse, love proved the deepest vein dug true, shining eternal,